Shaw here. Welcome to another episode of Ravings and Cravings on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM. Ravings and Cravings is brought to you by Elm Package Store and Tony's Pizza. Hey, good evening. Good to be with you today. This is Ruth Hartunian Alamba, otherwise known as Crave Eat Love on Instagram, Ravings and Cravings on Facebook. You can Google me. I think I just come up. I'm like your number one person. I'm here for you to talk about food, drink, anything having to do with the dining kind of industry. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you, Matt Rupar, for always making us look good. Appreciate that. I am here in the studio. Oh, did I say the shout out in the commercial to Tony's? Yeah, do it again. Tony. I repeated last week. Why not? Shout out to Tony's Pizza, as well as Elm Package Store. Yeah, thank you guys for sponsoring this. Always room at the table for more sponsors if you guys want. Anyway, let's move on to chocolate. Today, we're going to talk about chocolate. Mm-hmm. I'm here in the studio with Robert Lecce Jr. He is the sole owner of the Pewter Pot Chocolates. You can thank me now for this opportunity. He brought in some samples of things, and he's going to talk about so many things that I wish I had an hour for. But thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So many things to talk about. Talk about what got you involved in making this product, and we're going to, for people who are listening, we're going to unpack this. There'll be visuals. You can see this on the WILI YouTube channel, so there'll be some things for you to see because Robert brought in some of his samples and stuff, and I will try something on the air. I don't want to disappoint people, you know.
You should not.
I shouldn't. So talk about the product that you've brought in with you, and then we'll kind of work our way backwards.
Okay, well, so my product is a bit unique and probably very good for the current time period, as it's the 250th of the country.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
But I created a small company that features chocolate that is reminiscent of the 18th century. It is called the Pewter Pot Chocolates. I started doing this about 8 or 9 years ago. It kind of morphed out of my reenacting world, which we can go into a little bit later. But so the chocolate I create, the original bar, the Connecticut bar, was from a recipe that I found of drinking chocolate, which is what we would call hot chocolate of the 18th century. They would have called it drinking chocolate in the 18th century. So it's spiced chocolate. That original recipe called for cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and ginger, sugar, and it also said that they used milk, which was used but not typical. Typically, you would see water as an ingredient in drinking chocolate of the time period. So during the demonstrations that I did early on, I would prepare a little bit of this drinking chocolate and give it to people to sample. And one of the people that I was doing this with, I said, this would be fantastic in a chocolate bar. So light bulb went off in my head. That weekend I went home and started to try to make my own chocolate, which was a huge failure because there's lots of different online recipes, and if you're not I was not in any way equipped to make my own chocolate. So I researched online and got recipes, but they were all failures. But I had to find a good chocolate supplier that I use. Chocolate's a pretty decent grade of chocolate.
Yep, so Matt's showing people, if you're going to see this later on WILI, he's showing people the glass jar that has the drinking chocolate in it, right?
Right, and that is how I sell it at the shop, and you can buy it there. I also have an online presence as well.
And the Connecticut bar is what's being shown now, and I love the packaging of it. It's very cool. So each bar has a state specific.
Yeah. So I have 13 chocolate bars, one for one of the original colonies or states.
I'm going to give you the rest of these, while he's talking about those. Let people see them.
Each bar has its own flavor profile. So the Connecticut is, like I said, spiced like the original drinking chocolate, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and ginger. The Massachusetts bar is coffee and cinnamon. The Rhode Island bar is rum and raisin. The New Hampshire bar is orange and clove, and so on. It goes down the line. Right down to Georgia, which is peanuts.
Oh, even Georgia?
Yeah.
So how many flavors are you able to create?
So right now I have the 13 colonies, and then I have 4 other I use the word offshoots of the spice bars, and those are flavors that I've kind of either been people have requested, like the John Adams bar, which is milk chocolate, because the bars that I create, the chocolate I use is mainly dark chocolate.
Mainly dark. Okay.
Yeah. So the John Adams bar is a milk chocolate bar, and I chose that because it's rather a plain bar. It has a little bit of an almond oil in it, but it's no other spices really in that. It's just chocolate and the almond oil. And I don't know if some of the listeners may be familiar with the series that was about John Adams, put out by HBO a few years back. There was a little line in there that said John Adams was getting ready to go off to Congress, and they said they wanted to put him in a fancy carriage. He's like, no, I have my own horse. And the line was a plain horse for a plain John Adams. And so the tagline on that wrapper is a plain chocolate bar for a plain John Adams.
Great idea. Hey, I'm going to open up the chocolate bar. Like I said, the packaging is really unique. It also has a wax seal on it, so each flavor has its own seal.
Well, I hand stamp everything: the jars, the chocolate bars. I also make sugar loaves, which was a way sugar was sold, cone shaped.
Oh, you make those too?
I make those at the shop. Yeah. I have herbal teas. I also have cacao shell tea, which is a byproduct of the chocolate, making chocolate in the 18th century and still is today. And they would use the shell to make tea. And so when you steep it, it's like a chocolate tea.
All right, well, I'm going to take this out of the package. It looks like it's wrapped in like a parchment type of paper. So you're gonna hear that crinkle, which we love. And this whole bar was made from scratch from beginning to end, right?
I do not do it from bean to bar. I don't have the facility to do that, but I do source a good chocolate, and that is melted and tempered and spiced.
And this is dark. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
The ginger and clove.
Yeah.
It rises up and kind of bites you.
Yep.
And it's really smooth. Melts very easily. I could chop this up in some coarser chunks. I might refrigerate it first, just a little while.
Yeah.
And put it in my chocolate chip cookie.
Yes. I make one. The New York bar is spiced very similar to the Connecticut bar, but it has cayenne in it.
Want to try it, Matt?
So I have.
There you go. Here's one.
Thank you very much.
I have a couple customers that have come in and they buy the New York bars and they add it to their chili.
What? They put
the
chocolate bar.
Yeah, sort of like that mole kind of
mole,
yeah.
Wow, that is a really good quality chocolate. Talk about your process from like start to finish, like from when you start creating this bar. What are you doing?
Do you want to hear the 18th century process, or
yes.
Okay. So
I don't want the modern stuff.
Okay,
Give me the old
stuff. So the 18th century process was long. There was a lot of steps, and there still is a lot of steps in making chocolate today.
That's amazing.
But the whole thing, and let me preface this by saying that I started this whole concept based off of an 18th century individual from Norwich, Connecticut, Christopher Leffingwell, who in 1770 purchased the last parts of or the last bits of this chocolate mill that was on the Yantic River at the Upper Falls in Norwich, and he was already producing chocolate. His brother had something to do with the shop, but he bought the rights from his brother. So he's producing chocolate before, during, and after the Revolutionary War. So in researching his way of business, and he was more than just making chocolate. He was a paper mill, lumber mill, stocking mill, dyeing mill. He had ceramics.
Wow.
He had ships in the harbor.
He did everything, huh?
He had shops on the Norwich Town Green. He had like the original strip mall. He had several shops in a row on the Norwich Town Green where you can go and get everything you needed. And so he would send his ships down to South America, purchase the cacao beans, bring them back up to Connecticut. A large portion would be reserved for the mill that he had, and he would sell some just the raw bean itself in his shop, which were an expensive commodity in both cases. But if you were to go to his shop and buy some beans, the first thing you would need to do is roast those beans like you would a coffee. The roasting process is rather simple, 20 minutes over a medium fire. You could done that easily over the fire in the 18th century, or they had barrel roasters.
Do you do that for your process, or do you not?
I can demonstrate that.
You can demo that when you reenact.
Yes, I demonstrate that, especially if I go to a historic home that has a working hearth. Then I can.
That's cool.
I have an 18th century barrel roaster
you can do that.
that I can use, but. I use it only for demonstrations. I don't use the beans after because it's 18th century metal and who knows what was in it back then.
Right.
But but after roasting, the beans are shelled and the shells are reserved because you can make tea out of the cacao shell.
Really?
Yep. And the tea is when steeped, smells like you're making a cup of chocolate, like a cup of hot chocolate. But taste, it's more. The taste is more along a green tea type of a thing.
Okay.
And mind you, cacao is like a miracle food. It has so many good things in it for you. Theobromine, natural stimulants. It has caffeine in it. It has magnesium. It has all kinds of things, all kinds of vitamins and minerals in it. But the shell, once roasted, kind of loses most of its caffeine. So lots of times you'll see these cacao shells are sold as caffeine-free. But they still contain all the goodness of the other parts of the bean. And it was a very popular drink in the 18th century. Martha Washington was said to take cacao shell tea every morning. And George Washington, I've seen letters written by George Washington that's ordering, 40 pounds of cacao shell from Mount Vernon.
Serious.
Yeah, so that's a lot of shell because these shells weigh nothing. It's
Yeah.
So after it's shelled, the bean is broken down into nibs and then placed on a heated grinding stone, which would be called a metate. And now this whole process is South American in origin and goes back thousands of years. Some use these flat grinding stones. Others used ones that look like mortar and pestles. But the one I use is a Mexican tradition. So it's the flat grinding stone made of basalt, which is lava stone.
That must take forever to get it to, you want to get it to a powdery consistency?
Well,
or
here's
what?
the thing. Cacao, the bean itself has natural fats in it and oils, right? So when you heat the stone, they would have done that by placing it in the hearth, brought it back to the table, put a coal pot underneath it to maintain the temperature. You place the nibs on top of the grinding stone and then use the molinino. I think I pronounced that right. Forgive me if I didn't. I never can get it right. You grind the friction of the grinding and the heat of the stone causes the chocolate to basically liquefy right in front of your eyes, and it's really rather quick.
And it's like, is that a rolling pin type of thing that
it looks like a rolling pin. It's handheld. It looks like sort of like a rolling pin, but it's squared off.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's got like four sides to it, but rounded still. So you're grinding this back and forth. The receipts or recipes from the 18th century say to do this for about 15 to 20 minutes for each application.
Oh.
So because the idea is to get it as smooth as possible to their ability to get it into that liquid chocolate state. And once it's ground, once you would feel that it was ground, you would scrape it off and put it into a vessel, a bowl or something to let cool and harden. Now, I have to say that when you're making chocolate this way, the chocolate is very stable. It hardens and it will last for a long time. But you will not have the beautiful shiny chocolate that you expect that we expect.
I should
today.
hand this to you so people can see what it looks like out of the package, huh?
Yeah, the chocolate
Beautiful.
of the 18th century would not have been a beautiful shiny. They didn't know too much about tempering in the 18th century, if they knew anything about it at all. So tempering is that getting the chocolate to kind of come back together after being melted in the proper molecular way.
Have some more.
So that the chocolate is
go for it.
has a nice snap to it and it's shiny and that's what we look for today. But as I pride myself as an 18th century chocolate maker, I don't. It doesn't bother me if the chocolate is a little off. It's perfectly imperfect. It was the way it was meant to be in the 18th
Made by a
century.
human, what do you
Right.
expect, right?
Right. So, so once that's done, once the chocolate is ground and cooled and hardened, now you can make your drinking chocolate, and that was the whole thing.
Oh my goodness!
So you
What a
would now take
process.
that chocolate and then grate it into whatever liquid you were making. If you're here in Connecticut, we're an agrarian society in the 18th century. There's dairy cows everywhere.
Yes.
You're going to use milk. Maybe you're going to shy away from the water because they understood, we needed water, but water could get you sick. If you stuck a bucket down the well and drank it out of the well, you're going to probably get sick from that. So milk. But if you're King George III, you're going to use port. The way he took his drinking chocolate was with port, the ground cacao, cinnamon, and clove, and that was heated and served to King George III that way.
That would be a very rich beverage.
Yeah,
very rich.
Yeah, and just thinking about the way it moved from South America into Spain originally. The Spanish sat on it, and the Spanish court sat on it for about 100 years. Other kingdoms and countries were dealing with chocolate, but Spain was the one that really cultivated it and brought it really heavily back into Europe. And once the nobility's got a taste for chocolate, it spread throughout Europe, and that's where it went. There was a treatise written in 1630 by a Spanish fellow, and then translated in 1640 for an English duke. The first chocolate house in London opens in the 1650s.
Oh.
And then it kind of grew from there. Chocolate in the 18th century was a very, very expensive commodity. Everything about chocolate was imported. Sugar, spices, the cacao itself. Just think about the manpower, the ships, and not to forget those unfortunates that were forced to work in plantations as slaves.
Right.
Be it native South Americans or Africans brought to man those plantations.
Wow. Well, you brought a couple of other flavors, so I'm going to just read what it says. So the Massachusetts flavor has roasted coffee beans and cinnamon in it. The New Hampshire flavor has dried orange and clove.
And clove, yep.
Wow. And I love this packaging. It's so historically correct, right? This is Rhode Island, right?
That's right.
Cinnamon spiced rum with raisins. So what if somebody wants to try your product? How would they get a hold of it?
Well, they could come to the shop in Salem.
So tell us the address.
Yeah, it's at 22 Darling Road in Salem, Connecticut.
Darling Road. And do you have hours for that specific?
Right now, my shop is open Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 5.
Okay, so if you want to try some of this historically made chocolate, you have more than just the drinking chocolate and the eating chocolate.
Well, in the shop, I have the chocolate bars. I sell the cacao shell tea. I make the sugar loaves.
The tea, right.
I also do extracts. I make extracts myself. And
which kinds do you make?
I make vanilla, orange, and coffee extracts.
Ooh.
And those were mented as but they used the term they used to fortify the chocolate. They would fortify water. They would fortify chocolate, and that meant adding some kind of alcohol or something to it. So that's why I started making those, because you would add in lots of recipes. You would see that add orange water, add rose water, add this. So I started doing that, and then I have other reenactor friends that make things. I have a friend in Coventry, Rhode Island. Their company is called the Wedges of Time, and they do handmade soaps, and they do candle making. And right now they have a coffee line out that I'm selling at the shop.
You have stuff. So you have other.
I have other. Yeah. Then I have
reenacting people's.
Yes. They're all handmade things, and
that's
I also
very
have some
cool.
textiles that. I have a friend, she hand spins, hand dyes.
All that stuff. I thought you were just the chocolate guy.
No, well, I try to set. It's an 18th century chocolate house, so you can come into the shop. It's decorated all 18th century inside, and the days that I don't have a lot of chocolate to make, I wear my 18th century outfit. So when you come in, you get the full. I have 18th century music playing.
As a former homeschool mom, I'd be bringing
Yeah,
a group in.
I've had homeschool groups in.
That would be
Yep.
fascinating
Yep.
to kids. Well, it's fascinating to me.
Right now, I'm getting a lot of DAR groups. That's the Daughters of the American Revolution. I've had 2 of their groups come into the shop. But when you
that's
come
very
in,
cool.
there's a small retail side, and then there's a side you can come and sit and order a pot of drinking chocolate, a pot of coffee, a pot of tea, and I serve that with
I have
sweets.
to come and visit you sometime.
And
Oh
I
my
serve it all on
goodness.
demi-tasse. There's no paper cups, no to-go, unless you bring your own mug.
Okay.
That's
Well, this is very cool. Robert Lecce Jr. from the Pewter Pot Chocolate LLC. His business card says, "A taste of history," and F's always are S's, right?
That's right.
A taste of history in every bite on 22 Darling Road in Salem, Connecticut. I think we should be flocking there. This sounds like a very cool place to visit. I learned more than I did when I was scrolling through social media to learn about your product.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's amazing.
I do so many of these demonstrations. I bring my whole thing and I go all over New England. I do these chocolate making demonstrations, and I have so much information, and I'm constantly learning more.
Yeah, yeah.
As I meet new people. Yeah.
Are there any new flavors on the horizon, you think, maybe?
I'm working on a George Washington. It's going to be called the General's Midnight Dram. It's going to have brandy and some other spices in it.
Oh, that sounds very interesting.
That's for Washington.
Well, if you need a taste tester, I'm available.
You can come down and taste it.
And I can be highly critical if you need me to be.
That's fine.
And I could be also I could also be very affirming if you need me to be that. I could be both.
Perfect.
Be both. Well, I'm gonna fight Matt for this chocolate once we sign off here, but thanks a lot for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It was a blast to talk about chocolate. We have so much that we didn't even get to touch on. But anyway, this is Ruth Hartunian Alaba, otherwise known as Ravings and Cravings. I'm signing off here on Good Company, WILI. That's a wrap for me, Ravings and Cravings, brought to you by Elm Package Store and Tony's Pizza. See you next Monday at 5:05 p.m. on 14 WILI and 95.